Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of your favorite real estate podcast on all of Al Gore's internet. That's right, Liftoff. I'm Derek Myers and I'm joined by my father, who is also my co host, Kris Myers. And today we have a family affair of sorts, joined by the VIP of all VIPs, if you will, my mom with a step, and maybe your favorite realtor, Kris Myers.
Yes,
Thanks for
thank
having
you.
me here.
Thanks for joining us, Kris. I'm grateful to have you in my life in many ways, but specifically today, we're going to talk a little bit about success that you're having with real estate and providing additional value to your clients that makes a significant difference and improvement in their outcome, prepping homes and all the things you do. Before we do, just quickly, Kris and I have been working together for more than 12 years, and she's take more and more of the role of leadership because she has such a great with people and what she does. I must tell you that she is a certified staging professional now. You can see your award behind you, and also an international staging and I forget the R professional. What is the ISRP, Kris?
It's International Staging and Redesign Professional.
Perfect. Which gives you just some information. Yeah, you've got that. You're staging, and then you also have the luxury home designation as well.
Correct.
So let me throw this to you and talk a little bit about this. We've been told many times, recently as last year, where a prospective seller says, "Oh, you don't have to stage it or clean it up. You don't have to do anything. The house is going to sell," which he's right. The house is going to sell. But don't you want the most money and the right buyer to get you the right outcome? So tell us a little bit about your thought behind it and how it's evolved and what you're doing.
I've always looked at homes as they need to be presented to attract all buyers, whether it's an investor, first-time home buyers, somebody moving up, moving down, what have you. So when you're looking at a home, you need to really look at the exterior of the home as well when you're getting ready to put it on the market. Because if the exterior of the home looks like it's not been maintained, like the yard looks horrible, the light fixtures are burnt out, it looks like there's cobwebs everywhere. You need to make the home look inviting. That's kind of where I start with a home before I even go in. I just need to look it over and say, okay, how are they maintaining their home? But once I go in the home, that's when the real work actually starts. I need to see, where are the focal points? Is their furniture situated to really focus on the focal points of the home? Do they have a nice view? Do they have a fireplace? All those focal points, all of the furniture needs to be directed towards those focus points, because when the buyer comes in, they want to be able to imagine their family, their time in their home to enjoy their home. So a lot of things I do is go in and if they don't have the adequate drapes, I remove all their draperies. I will hang up sheer curtains in every single window just to kind of caption all the natural lighting, because every home has some form of natural light, even the darkest of homes. We've got to brighten up every home. That's rule number one. Rule number two, do they have adequate lighting? Do they have enough accent lighting? Do they have enough task lighting? Do they have enough just lighting? They need to have 3 points of lighting in every single room. And that can be recessed lights, table lamps, desk lamps, what have you. But you really need to have enough lighting in your home to really make it look its best. So, and then the third thing is furniture. What's their furniture look like? Can you work with their furniture? Is it too big and bulky? Is it outdated? Maybe we can work with it. A lot of times I'll work with a client's furniture, add some pieces of my own in. A lot of times I'll move half their stuff into the garage and I'll bring in some of my own and kind of mix it up. Sometimes I do a whole home stage job, even the bedrooms. But what I found is buyers that come in, they are very attracted to a staged home. Empty homes do not sell as quickly as a staged home. Buyers need to be able to envision what it would be like to come and live in that home. They need to be able to see, can I actually fit a king-size bed in this room? Maybe I could use this as an office. A lot of different things. Another thing is smells in a house are so important. If your house is not clean, it's going to deter any buyer that comes in. That's another thing I love to do. I love to bring in candles. My favorite scent, sage. It's a feng shui, good energy candle, which I'm also learning now.
That's right. Yeah, you are now you are a devoted expert in feng shui, and you've changed the way we live in our own home, not in such a way that it creates in our life. It actually makes it better and happier, and they make sense. It's really fun.
That's correct.
I'm
Just, yeah.
How did my thoughts that are coming to mind is number one, just to respond to what you had said, I see how much care and attention to detail you have. And I think that's something that most consumers, most buyers and sellers may not even realize goes into the process. Like you were saying earlier, there may be an underlying assumption that people think, oh, the home will sell itself. And people have pride in their home. Of course, they're going to feel that way to an extent. But at the same time, not everybody has those rose-colored glasses on about their home. And because especially when they're coming into it prospectively, they may not see it from the same vantage point as the seller. Your care and attention to detail of really understanding what would attract the ideal and the perfect buyer for that home is important because you only have so much time to capture someone's attention. I think that's really unique. And the second thing I was going to ask is what led or what kind of birthed that passion for staging, would you say?
I guess I always liked the preparation part of putting the home on the market. I didn't realize how much I really liked it until I started doing it and then started investing in my own staging furniture. And I have a warehouse full of staging furniture that I use. And that's another thing. Before I answer your question is, I get such joy out of transforming homes that I don't charge my clients a fee for that. That's actually one of my favorite parts of it, besides getting them the offer they want. But I just enjoy the transformation process of it. And I enjoy watching the looks on the seller's faces when they say, we should have done this a long time ago. I get that so many times. Why didn't we do this? But what led me to do it, I think it's just the joy for it. And then through the course that I took, I learned more about it. And so it's just fun for me. It's as fun for me as planting vegetables in my garden.
Yeah, you are a hands-on person because you're from Western PA and you got that soul of the earth working, hard work ethic, and it comes out. But I see the joy you have. Here's a little case study. Recently, actually, right now, a home that we have just put into escrow. I think the inspection was today. Talk a little bit about that chronology from about 30 days ago up into when we launched it and all the different things you did there as an example of the time and effort, the coordination of other vendors and such. Talk a little bit about that because I think it may really surprise most people.
In this instance, we were lucky enough. The sellers had the ability to move out first before we put their home in the market, which kind of made it a little easier, especially since they have 3 dogs. So once they moved out, I was able to get painters in to fix any flaws. We didn't paint the whole entire house, but a lot of it. We were able to coordinate carpet removal, new carpet installation. I was able to go in and power wash the whole exterior of the home. They're the original homeowners. Very nice sellers, but I don't think caring for the home was their number one thing on the top of their list to do. But I just wanted to come in and really just make it look the best it could. So just simply power washing outside. I had a whole cleaning crew come in. I organized that. I had a handyman come in and fix a number of things. And then once everything was done, that's when I came in and started staging. So I would say that the time that it took me, probably 3 full days. 3 full days.
I mean, you're not a big fan of carpet, so let's be clear that you only had carpet back in the bedrooms and the hallway because they did have some newer luxury vinyl tile that looked pretty darn good through the kitchen, the family room, and living room. And the reason to use carpet, especially in the bedrooms, is it's kind of easier, but it's lower cost and it really changes the look, the feel, and smell. And it really worked. It was warm and dated, right?
Correct. It just gives it a whole new, fresh look at a low cost, like you said, to the seller. Even I like focusing on the exterior of the home as well. Like from the moment you walk up the steps, I like to focus on does it have a porch? Can we make it look like a cute little sitting area out here? Let's put some new flowers outside. Let's put some barker around the bare areas. I did all of that and I did that on my dime. But you know what? In the end, it'll all pay off because we ended up getting the seller a full price offer where we already thought we were pushing the list price. And they were ecstatic. And we're happy too. We're happy for that.
Yeah. $1,679,000. We got full price. We got her signed off in less than a week. Okay, we launched it 1 week and had it sold by Tuesday. So we're real proud of you.
And that's again a testament to how going the extra mile may not be always seen by everybody, but it does pay off. And for anybody who's putting in those extra hours without the glory or the recognition, I think it's important to highlight how you've demonstrated that it does pay off and it does pay dividends, even if you are investing some money on the front end. And who knows, maybe that is a lasting impression and that gets you another listing down the road with that person remembering just how much you cared.
She could tell a story about that, and she will. But this home was built in 1998, and great people, very smart people. But like Kris said, that wasn't their focus. So never been painted. The backyard was not upgraded, no pool or anything. So she really changed and transformed that house. Hard to quantify, but I truly believe you got $50,000 to $70,000 extra from that seller, and you got it fast.
And that's when you sell a home fast, you get to move on to your next listing. As a matter of fact, when I was preparing the home, the last touches I did do was before the home inspection. I went, you know what, I want to check the exterior of the home just to make sure all the light bulbs and the light fixtures are working. And I did discover a couple of the bulbs that were out. And I really want to clean these and replace the bulbs before the inspector comes in. Because as we know, if a light bulb is out in a fixture, home inspector calls that fixture is broke. But it's not. It's just missing light bulbs. But as I was doing that, and I actually had just pounded my in escrow sign onto the signpost out front, the neighbor from 2 doors up came down and said, "You sold that already?" So I kind of explained him what I did, and I showed him the inside, and he was impressed. He said, "You know what?" He goes, "We are actually going to be moving to Texas. Our son lives there. He's in school. He wants to stay there." And I said, "We're here when you're ready." He said, "Yeah, that would be great." So I had probably a 45-minute conversation with him, and that was just because I was outside changing light bulbs in the front of the house. He may have called us anyway, but that just kind of solidified the relationship a little bit more, I think, just by being out there and stopping what I was doing. At first, I was like, oh, I just want to change these light bulbs and go. And afterwards, I'm like, wait a minute, this is a 2.2 listing lead right here in front of me. So then
And not only that, there's another example, Kris, that you're working on your next project, and you're working right now just merely on the front of the house built in 68. Original owners, they're in their 90s now and just moved into assisted living, and we're getting ready to tackle that one. You know, another thing Kris does, she set up an estate sale that's going to happen on the inside. So she's been focusing out front, and I met her over there, and I might have held the step stool for a minute and kind of pulled out a trash can, but she did all the heavy lifting. She's climbing up. She got her little chainsaw and her hedge trimmers and her clippers, and she's trimming it up and transformed this house where you couldn't really see the house. And talk a little bit about that, and maybe some of that may have walked by.
So as I was trimming a tree, this one gentleman was walking down the street. He actually had walked around the block, and he stopped me and he said, "You know what?" He goes, I saw you a little bit ago out here trimming, and now you've completely transformed this tree. Because that's pretty amazing. You climbed in all those limbs. I said, "No," I explained. I said, "No, I just trimmed all the ones that were hanging down." And anyway, he proceeded to tell me that his mother had passed away. We had a conversation about that home that happened to be just a couple blocks away. And he mentioned a couple of other realtors' names and said, "You know what? I really don't want to go with them. They're just kind of pushy. They're always knocking on the door, and I just don't like that." He goes, "I think you're pretty cool." He goes, "I'm going to call." I said, "Okay, it sounds great." So it just goes to show you, I think, if you're my new thing is, I'm just going to go to everyone's house and just start working on their landscaping and their light fixtures and just see what happens.
Yeah, it just so happens these really could use a lot of that. Sometimes we get homes that are in awesome shape, but even then, you put in a mirror, you change something around, you add some natural light in a different way, 3 points of light. I remember there was a house we had that had a red accent wall in it. Sounded pretty cool 25 years ago, but you went and you painted that out white, and it just opened up that house. But yeah, this one that we were just talking that you're prepping, you cut back this side part of the front yard, and we didn't realize how much more yard you captured, fully 20 more feet and it opened it up.
That's right.
What'd you discover under all that stuff?
So after I trimmed the main tree down in front of the house, I said I have a little bit more room in my trash cans here. Let me see what else I can start chopping down. So there's a tree between the house and the neighbors that's completely overgrown and just growing down and touching the ground. I went, this tree has probably never been trimmed back. So I started trimming back and cutting down all the overgrowth. I have a big pile up front. Back east, you would say, let's have a bonfire, but we can't do that in California. So I just gotta start putting it in the trash can slowly as I have time. And so what I discovered underneath, all of these beautiful plants underneath that have just been living in the dark and not getting any rain. Panther plants, which in California, it's the leafy plants that have the purple flower that grows up, and they're beautiful. And I went, oh my gosh. And this is like 20 square feet, probably extra front yard that wasn't exposed. And just by doing that, it
20
really
feet wide, more than 20 square feet. But yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 20 square feet would be not worth it, but again, I like doing this kind of stuff. You have to like to do this kind of stuff.
Right.
Or it's just
Not every agent can do this, right? The reality is, if you're competing with someone else, you have a true unfair advantage because of your passion and your knowledge, and you research and you learn, and you just have a little bit of an eye as well, and you love doing it, and you get so much satisfaction out of it.
I do.
But there's a story here that someone else might pursue their passion. The thing is, you just can't mail it in and put it in MLS and hope something happens. We're not doing a service to the clients.
Right.
So you agents out there need to realize that, and you non-agents out there that ever consider selling or know anybody that does, or buying, would be a good one to talk. I am a little tired, but
I guarantee you will get referrals from them. Great Zillow reviews, great referrals. They won't forget you for doing it, for sure.
that's right.
Absolutely. Finding ways to make a lasting impact by taking what you love and enjoy doing as a means of service and a means of, again, standing out, I think is such a great way of showcasing the value that you bring. And I think that, like you were saying earlier, Dad, that there's people that may feel like, oh, I could never do something like staging or trying to get it all landscaped nicely. I don't even know where to begin with something like that. But maybe for somebody else, their passion is in how they design their marketing or the way that they put together their social media pieces. And they really love all the details that go into that, or whatever it is. Find your unique value add that you bring and use that as a way to differentiate yourself, because in doing that, you're able to lean in and draw from the passion that you have for real estate. Because in the in-between, when you find yourself in dry seasons, it's important to be able to remember your why and to count on that as a means to keep you moving forward and not stay stuck or feel discouraged, which can absolutely happen. So I guess from that, my question that I want to pose to you, Kris, is what have you learned along the way of kind of finding your lane and finding your true identity in real estate? What's been some takeaways for you as you've kind of found yourself?
Wow. I guess everything we just talked about, really. Homes do not sell themselves. I mean, that you really
we got back to it. Kris, I'll take you back to when we had in Bridalwood. We had it on the market for a while. We thought we had a price. It was before the craziness of the COVID hyped market and some other stuff. We just couldn't get it sold. And they decided they're going to take it off the market for a little bit. So they did. And then a couple months later, so let's put it back on the market. And Kris said, can I make some suggestions? And this is kind of where I feel like it really started. And you went in there and got them to take down their big, crazy curtains. They were those ornate, big, heavy, gorgeous at one time, but dark and limiting. You removed those. You had the house entirely painted, and it was a big home, 4,400 feet, I think. And so we did have them spend a little bit of money, but we coordinate that and got them a good painter price we have access to. And then you started moving furniture around. Before, you were really doing a lot of staging. I think, if I remember right, you brought in a potted plant, a mirror, and you changed up some bathrooms where you cleaned everything out. You put the towels down and a few little touches on that. We put it back on the market, and I think we sold it within the first week or two. virtually at full price, and they were super excited, and it lit a fire in you. And that was the birth. You thought, it really does make a difference. And then so you've been slowly but surely building your catalog of furnishings as we filled up that space. And now you have quite a bit. You can stage several homes at once. And anyway, I'm a big believer in what you've done.
It shows that sometimes it takes a moment of us speaking up and using our voice and leveraging that, right? You're the expert, Kris, and you just said, you know what? I'm going to take a shot here. You want to be careful at times not to step on anybody's toes when you're trying to represent them. But when it comes down to it, you also want to say, look, when it comes to it, I'm the expert here and I want to be able to help you. Our goal is to get you the best price possible, the highest price possible for your home in the quickest amount of time. So I think that this is the solution. And you took that risk and look, it paid off. And like you were saying, Dad, it lit a fire in you. So it sounds like that was a real turning point for you. Would you agree with that? Or do you think that there is maybe some other moments
I definitely agree with that. I think I just get such joy out of seeing the seller's expression when it's finally done. When they finally see those pictures from the photographer and they walk in and they can see their home has been completely transformed. And they realize, and I think that they realize that by hiring me, they know that they got a great value because of what extra things I do for them that maybe some people don't do. And I think that's what agents need to do. They need to find their, what do you call that? Their
secret sauce.
Mojo.
Yeah, exactly.
What is your extra thing that you're going to do for your clients that's going to make you different than any other agent? You got to find out what that is. And I think
if you were to hire outside stager, they charge $10,000 to $15,000 for the job you just did. Right. And it would have been money well spent because look, made $50,000 to $70,000. So that's money well spent. It just so happens you encapsulate it in the fee that you charge.
Right. And we can push the price. We can push the price with what I do. And also it will sell quicker. Seller's happier. We're happy. And we get to move on to the next job. Right now, I'm antsy. I need another project. So I'm going to have to go and trim some more trees at my next listing until the estate sale happens so I can get inside.
So anybody out there, if you have a project you need, this is Kris. If you don't give her something to do, she's going to continue to spend her weekend afternoons weeding our back hill, although there are no more weeds here. You've got that hillside and all of the town.
And just to paint a picture in a different way too, when I was out visiting not long ago, a few weeks back, there was a day, I think it was on the aforementioned listing that is in escrow now, you had 21,000 steps in a single day, and you were just all in and out, moving things around and taking things and making trips and, setting it all up and getting it just right. And, again, I think not to overstate what we've said already, but, there's so much dedication that you've put into perfecting your craft, right? We can look at, we can maybe over mechanize or maybe look at a transaction as something that's robotic or mechanical, right? You do this and this, and they're just kind of like robotic actions, but there really is so much heart and soul and passion that you've exhibited and shown that goes into real estate. That, yes, first and foremost, we recognize it's relationship first, but also beyond that, behind the scenes, there's so much dedication and creativity that can be implemented too. And again, I just think it's awesome that you've found your lane and you've been able to really hone in on that and utilize that well as a way to giving so much back to your clients.
Thank you.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for giving us a day in the life of Kris Myers, certified stager, power washer extraordinaire, all around great agent, great negotiator too. Tough negotiator. Yeah. And I thank you. Any closing thoughts, Kris, that you'd like to say?
No, just find your passion. And with real estate, find out what you like to do, what you like to do in selling real estate, not just selling the home, but what can you do to make it better and make it more enjoyable?
Right.
I love that. It's simple, but it's so profound, so true. And thank you so much for sharing your heart. So for anybody who is in Southern California that's seeing this, and wants to have a great agent who's going to just do a heck of a job for you, reach out to Kris.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Stay tuned and see you next time.